Oh, do I love it when you make my job easier. And all it took was a question from my side and you overwhelmingly voted for the pancake fold. So what we're gonna do today is have some delicious pancakes for breakfast. We are going to need only 2 exercises to get you from sitting upright just like this to a full pancake fold. So if you're ready, let's go and have some fun. Minimal anatomy breakdown. When it comes to the pancake, or as the Japanese like to call it, pancake, I'm not even joking, all we need is extreme posterior chain flexibility, meaning all the muscles in the backside of our body, and extreme anterior chain flexibility, however, specifically just our adductors. So while our main focus in the anterior chain is only one muscle group, when it comes to our posterior chain, we will be focusing on our calves and our hamstrings and our glutes and the tiniest bit on our spinal erectors, so we can move that spine into complete flexion. With that out of the way, it's time to check out the exercises. Now there is one single exercise that targets every single muscle group that we're going to require for the pancake fold or the straddle stretch, which means that if you master the first exercise to its highest level, you are pretty much 90% there. And that exercise, my friends, will be the cossack squat, but not just a classic cossack, no, we will take it to the furthest level we can for maximum flexibility. Level number 1 for the cossack squat, being able to bend in your knees with your feet parallel until you can bring your hip joint all the way down to your knee joint, the same height. Once you're here, you've pretty much reached the beginner level, and now we can start actually stretching. 2 very important things to keep in mind whenever you are cossack squatting anywhere. Depending on your foot placement, if they are parallel, you will have more stretch in your adductors, the anterior chain, and if you turn your foot up, you will have more stretch in your posterior chain, especially in your hamstrings, so in your biceps and in your calves, and if you pull your toes in, even in your Achilles and your foot musculature. So switching from this to this already gives us an immense advantage when we're working on our pancake fold mobility. And as most of you will have deduced by now, our next level will be getting into a complete deep squat, just like so. Our left foot will stay flat, and once we are down all the way, basically sitting in a resting lateral squat, now we're gonna start turning up and adding posterior chain flexibility. To get you from this level to this level, you can use your hands on the ground and just move laterally at your own pace. If you want to add more strength, if you want to add more balance, which are very important parts of the cossack squat by itself, then you can keep your hands to yourself and work just like so. Take your time in the movement, try and balance yourself out. We're already bringing massive strength and massive coordination bonuses into our flexibility work. With our next level being adding some spinal rotation, which is gonna loosen up our spinal erectors around our lumbar spine by reaching diagonally with our right hand to the left foot, or if we're on the other side, with the left hand to our right foot. And to add even more flexibility bonuses to this movement, instead of keeping your knee up here, you can move it down all the way to the ground and start moving your upper body closer towards your legs, which will be the next level. So instead of just grabbing diagonally, we will move closer and closer. Now, of course, you can use your hand to pull yourself down towards your leg, but what I would advise is much more effective using your hip flexors and your quadriceps by flexing them and flexing your abdominals to pull your upper body closer. This is automatically going to relax your posterior chain through reciprocal inhibition. If you don't know what this is, check out yesterday's video where we went into detail about how that would work. Now, advancing from here, and this is very important, that you really need to work on your strength, not just your flexibility. Because this position, if you are stretching too much without strengthening enough, can lead to a lot of injuries. Most advanced flexibility positions will. So you can't just be flexible in all those movement patterns. You need to be strong and controlled. Only then are you safe from injury, and only then can you advance much faster than you would if you were only focusing on stretching. Which means that your next step to mastery, once you're all the way down here and all the way down here with your upper body as closely to your leg as possible, is grabbing a light weight and doing the exact same thing with control and with more and more strength requirements. Please start out with a very low weight and work your way up to more and more weight until you can do this in your sleep. And now you are a master of the Cossack squat, and now we can move on to our second and only bonus exercise, because doing all of this will pretty much get you down here. And if you've gone through these exercises, you have felt all of the muscles that you're gonna need when we are in a pancake fold or in the straddle position. This second exercise will exclusively focus on our posterior chain, and that, my friends, will be the Jefferson curl. Now, there are two schools of thought when it comes to the Jefferson curl. There are those who say you need to keep your spine in a neutral or extended position when going through this exercise. And then, of course, there are the people who claim that you can go into spinal flexion, because when we do the Jefferson curl, we generally don't use too much weight, which means that your spine is not gonna break, and in fact, it will have more benefits for your spine to strengthen it in this controlled spinal flexion movement. What do I say? The most effective thing is doing both. Not only will working in an extended or neutral spinal position help you strengthen your spinal erectors a lot more, but it'll also keep you from cheating yourself out of your flexibility progress, because you actually are stretching all of your posterior chain leg musculature instead of working more on your upper body musculature, which is gonna compensate for the lack of flexibility you have back here. To combat this, we are gonna learn how to go into full relaxation with spinal flexion, as well as how to go through a complete range of motion with an extended or neutral spinal position. So level number one for both of these, learn how to get all the way down to the ground with your spine in a neutral position until your hands touch the ground. And learn how to go into complete spinal flexion, and only then start hinging in your hip and bending forward, having more and more pull around your back and shoulder musculature instead of more pull around our leg musculature. And now we have pretty much mastered posterior chain flexibility if we take this to its furthest level. So let's check out the progression for that. Surprise pull-up. Level number one, weight down to the floor and all the way up. Level number one with a flexed back, all the way down to the floor, and with a rounded back, all the way up. Level number two, hands all the way down to the floor, all the way up. Rounded back, hands down, all the way to the floor, and all the way up. Level number three, with an extension, bringing your wrists all the way down to ankle or foot height. And of course, with a flexed back, relaxing into a complete Jefferson. With this one, of course, it's gonna be easier to get your wrists to toe height. And our final variation for this one, once you are very comfortable doing a Jefferson curl, grab a much heavier weight, and now we're gonna focus all of it on just relaxing into the stretch. And you're gonna actively start relaxing your calves, relaxing your biceps and your hamstrings, relaxing your glutes and your spinal erectors, and definitely relaxing your shoulders for deep decompression of your rotator cuff. Hold for 20 to 30 seconds, and instead of moving all the way up with the heavy weight, we're just gonna switch into a squat. If you don't know how to switch into a squat from this position, you can also just let go and take a seat so you don't hurt yourself. And this is it, I swear, this is it. You don't need anything else. But if you wanna add one more hack, one thing to make it a little bit easier for you, grab yourself a heavy weight, place it at foot level right here in front of you. Try and grab it with both your hands, keep your legs fully extended, start pulling your toes in, actively flex your hip flexors and your quads, pulling your upper body down, and use the tiniest bit of strength from your arms to pull you a little bit deeper into that stretch. As for a second hack, incorporating breathing into this stretch will help you immensely at advancing very, very fast. Take a deep breath in. And only when breathing out, move a little bit closer and closer to the ground. Take a deep breath in. And when breathing out, move closer to the ground. Another breath in. and you get the point. Now, when it comes to the programming, we'll keep it very simple. For every single dynamic exercise, you can go for a complete minute. Any static stretch, we will hold for 30 seconds. As for sets, depending on how many of these variations you're doing, you're gonna have either more or less. So if you're only doing one set of top level cossack squats or cossack stretches, then you will have to do more sets. Go for 5, go for 6 sets to completely work on your mobility. If you are someone who does every single variation, even though they are more flexible, meaning you go for level 1 for a full round or a second round, and then you go for level 2, even though you could be starting with level 3, then I would advise you to just do 2 sets of the more easy variations for you, and your final variation, the one where you're actually working on increasing your range of motion, that is the one where you go for a third. And this way, your mobility routine will take about 20 to 30 minutes. You can do it twice, or better yet, 3 times a week. Twice is enough, 3 times is even better. Anything above that, you will have reached the point of diminishing returns. So with that said, sadly, my friends, that's all the time I've left for you today. However, if you like the video and subscribe, and please guys, check out other videos on this channel because we literally have new ones every single day, which means I'll see you guys tomorrow. Captain Cairo, peace out.